welcome to Marvel Champions Podcast, a podcast about Marvel Champions, the card game. I'm your host, Scott, and with me as always, my co-host, Ryan.
Hello, buddy. Welcome to my takeover of this podcast with my aspect, accountability. This time, a different aspect.
About time you start taking some responsibility, Ryan.
I mean, I gotta pull my weight somehow. I do all the idea generating, and you do all the hard things like editing and posting and whatever.
Yeah, minute details, right?
Minor details. You know, that's lame man's stuff. I'm doing the real work.
Okay.
That's right. All right. Let's why don't we get into it? We're talking about justice today. My favorite aspect, or at least it was. I don't know if it still is. Let's review it and find out. So Scott, the people want to know, what is the main objective for the justice aspect?
Wow, that's a good question, Ryan. I would say probably, if I had to just pick just one, probably dealing with, I don't know, Ryan, maybe...
I think you're dragging this out a little bit.
All right. I'm going to go with some thwart. It likes to thwart, Ryan.
That is right. Last time we talked about some aggression, and they love attacking. This time we're talking about some justice. They love to thwart. And that's kind of the main thing, is thwarting. It's kind of the game control mechanism of the game. So you're not really dealing damage, but you are controlling the board.
Yeah, that's one part of the game that the game can end for you, is if the villain thwarts out, or it can get really kind of out of hand real fast if getting a bunch of threat, getting right close to the threshold. So it's a loss condition, Ryan.
I find it funny that when we talk about like heroes and stuff, we never talk about how like, man, this hero, they just don't do a whole lot of damage. That doesn't come up a whole lot of times. Though I have felt, or at least in some heroes, I do feel like they could use a little bit more. But I do often see like, man, this hero, they really struggle with thwarting.
Yeah, I would agree. You hear that more often than you do the opposite.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I think damage is the main aspect of the game. But for someone like me, I think thwarting is more important.
Yeah. I mean, because a majority of the scenarios, you have to defeat the bad guy to win. There are a handful and a couple of thwarting objectives. Can't win by just defeating the villain.
Yep. But of course, it's not always about the main thing that the aspect does. There are some secondary objectives that I feel the aspects have. Justice is no different. But Scott, do you know any off the top of your head? Or should I just tell you what they are because I'm cool?
Well, I think a big one would probably be confusing. Probably a big one.
That is definitely one of them. Yep.
I was going to say maybe not removing threat, but maybe like stopping threat, but I don't feel like there's too many cards that do that. I think most remove.
Yeah. I would say that the alternate like objective that Justice has is more about like board state control. So not only thwart, but there's cards like Under Surveillance, which is going to increase the cap of the main scheme. But then you have cards like Spycraft that's about, hey, there's an encounter card, I'm going to manipulate it. I think there's quite a few cards like that that's trying to manipulate how you control the narrative of the game.
Yeah, I can see that. Looking through some of these, I see a few of them are treachery focused. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. But definitely it all weaves into thwart because it's such an important type of thing. You don't play Justice very often. Have you
I'm
tried
trying.
just call you out right now. Do you try to do anything different with Justice in any of those decks, or is it always just like I just need to thwart, and so you just kind of go to the same thwart cards over and over?
And you know what? I was literally just thinking that as you were saying it. I was like, most of the time I play Justice, I grab like the same 15 Justice cards that are all synergistic. And a lot of them is like drawing a card when you finish off the last threat, or the event finishes off the last threat, draw a card. I feel like those are a lot of my Justice cards. It's like the same like 6 cards.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my biggest problem with Justice right now is there are all these different cards, but I feel like can't I don't really play any of them. I only play the same few because they're good
Yeah,
and they do what I need to do, which is thwart. It just some reason the other ones just don't synergize, I guess, with heroes as well. I mean, some do, some that, especially ones that like came out with specific heroes.
so I
But
think I think that's the point there, Ryan. Is you can grab those same 6 cards and literally play them with any hero, and 9 times out of 10 it's gonna work. Whereas it's like I can play these like 1 or 2 Justice cards, but I have to play one of these 2 or 3 heroes for it to really
yes,
work.
yes, that I agree with. I feel like right now Justice is very character dependent on who you're playing with. It kind of opens up this section of the card pool of Justice or that one. But since we're talking about cards, let's just go straight into talking about some of the mainstays, those few that we always choose for Justice. But I'm going to let you choose
Oh
which
no.
ones to start off with. What type of cards?
Oh, okay. Let's go support.
Okay, all right, good one. All right.
Yeah. Let's see. In our aggression episode, I went with Trident. No, that's an upgrade. Never mind. Cut that.
Well, how about this? While you kind of think about it, one thing that I skipped over is kind of like traits or archetypes that are within Justice, and the biggest one and the strongest one is Shield.
Yeah.
The Shield archetype in Justice is very powerful and likely to get stronger with this coming up wave.
Yes, I will agree with you on that one. It's just gonna make its foothold more, and Shield is justice.
Yeah, yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, shields they're trying to prevent. A lot of shield things are about thwart or altering the kind of the board state to benefit the hero. Kind of like a Black Widow preparation type stuff.
Yeah. All right. Back to supports.
All right, all right.
It took me a second, but I think Beat Cop probably gonna win that award
Oh,
for
because
support.
it's pretty awesome. It's
Yeah,
if I'm able to get it out, it's always a win.
and it's one of like if you can get that out early, you can. They're actions, right? They're both actions, and then you can just build that sucker up, and then if you get some real big bad minion, you be like, no worries, I'm gonna throw this middle-aged cop at you. So
Go, I choose you, middle-aged cop.
that's right. Yeah.
No, I love it. I love the way this is designed. I love how it slowly takes the threat. It does what Justice does, but I love the damage aspect that it can just absolutely dominate a minion if it comes out. It's definitely one of my favorite Justice cards. I don't play it all the time, but I really like it.
I think when it first came out, it had a big surgence, and for a long time it kind of held as one of those Justice staples.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably mine as well. So good job stealing it.
Yep.
But I will just do an honorable mention to Surveillance Team. It was okay when it was originally released, but once Shield became more important in the justice aspect, it's become a lot better. So I think it deserves a shout out.
Yep, I would agree.
All right, man. Let's move on to some allies. Let's change it up. Let's go to allies. Why don't I go first? Give you a second. There are some very notable ones in here. But the one that I have found that I always include in a Justice deck, well, I don't know if I would say always, but about like 90% is Wiccan. I'm a big fan of Wiccan. 2 cost, 3 health. Only does 1 attack and 1 thwart, but the response to his thwart is pretty awesome. I really like that. Dealing the extra damage.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble, but when it pays off, it's very satisfying. I think one that you had kind of mentioned a little bit of like manipulation of board state. I think one that I've seen recently that has been getting a lot of play. It's a little wild card, Ryan, but Blindfold.
Oh, yeah.
Blindfold, when she comes out, you can look at the top 5 cards, discard one of those cards, put the rest back in the same order. I think that's some good manipulation there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Blindfold's a pretty solid, and I love how it's not locked into X-Men. Like, there's a lot of X-Men locked allies, so I like you can use it. Some honorable mentions for me. Agent Coulson's always a pretty solid ally.
Yep.
Monica Chang, you doing that shield thing.
Monica. I think Jessica Jones had her time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Early on, she had her time.
And later on in our discussion, I do want to kind of bring her back. So put a little what is it? Footnote.
I'll put a pin.
Dog ear.
I'll put a pin right there. Yep. I'll fold that corner of the page down. We'll come back to it.
All right. I do want to mention, just give a quick shout out to Daredevil. I played him more often back in the day. I don't play him as much anymore, but I do like me some Justice Daredevil.
Okay. Eros, I've seen him played a whole bunch. He's got a good response.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
We kind of glossed over this at the beginning, Ryan, or maybe you're going to get to it. Talking about some mental resources with when you think of Justice. But it's everyone's favorite time. We're going to play a round of Have You Ever Played That Card Right? Since we're doing the allies.
Recurring segment.
This is my favorite recurring segment right now. Just because it's fun. All right. Have you ever played Wraith, Ryan?
Yes, I have. I think Wraith is actually not too bad. I think there's some good things about Wraith, especially with some villains like a Ronin.
Okay. Ryan, have you ever? And you might have done that. I'm gonna skip that one. So let's just get on. Okay.
I've got one for you if you don't say that one.
Okay. No, that's a good one. That's a good one too. Allies are pretty good here. We're gonna find one though, Ryan. I'm gonna find one. Ryan, have you ever played Lady Spider?
Dang it, that was mine. No, I have not. I've never played Lady Spider.
All right, I got one more. I could have a few more, but Jack Flag. You ever played Mr. Jack Flag, Ryan?
I want to say I have, but to be honest, I don't know if I actually have.
And then one that I know for sure you've never played. Ryan, have you played Husk?
I have played Husk.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I wasn't a big fan of it, and then I've seen some decks with it, and I don't know if we got an email or if I just read it on like on a Facebook post, but someone was like, Husk is actually pretty good. You should play her. I did, and she's got her moments. I think there's some potential in there.
Okay. Ryan, have you ever played? You may have Chamber.
Uh,
No.
no, I've not played Chamber.
Okay. Man, you call yourself a podcaster.
Yeah, of course I am. I mean, I'm not perfect.
And
I
that
know people
wraps up.
think I am.
Right. And that wraps up our segment. Have you ever played that card? Do 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 do. Yep.
Well, I've got one for you though.
Okay.
Do we're back.
Oh, and we're back.
Scott, this is my only one. Have you ever played Spider Woman?
Spider Woman, the hero? No, just kidding. Let me look real quick. Spider Woman. I almost picked that one for you, but it was Shield, so then I knew you probably have. So I don't know if I have. I don't think
I mean, I don't know if this is fair because you don't play Justice ever, so you probably haven't played any of them.
No, I've played a few. I played a few Justices here and there. When you're like, I want to do this thing with this other aspect, I'm like, okay, I guess I should let them play something other than Justice.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. We're done.
Okay.
All right, man. Let's go to upgrades.
Let's do it. Upgrades.
Upgrades. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah. I think I know which one you're going to pick, but.
Yo, my favorite upgrade. Maybe it's not the best on here, but it's the one I always play. Overwatch.
Okay. Not
You
the
didn't
one
think
I was
that?
thinking.
Oh,
No.
I love Overwatch. It's so good for zero cost. I'm potentially doubling a threat removal. That's pretty awesome.
Okay. No, that's pretty good. That's a pretty strong card. I think it scales, so you got to have the right time for it. But when it's played, I think it's good.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than playing it for zero cost and then doing a big thwart for like 4+, and you do 4 on that, and then all of a sudden now you're doing a total of 8 because you just did 4 on that other one.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, so I thought you were gonna go with Sonic Rifle Run.
Really, I think that is a really good one though.
Yeah, the ability to have almost like an on-demand confuse is pretty awesome.
Agreed.
I know it doesn't affect all villains. Steady and Stalwart definitely hamper it a little bit, but I think the ability to reliably add that at any time, because it is an upgrade that's just out.
Yeah. No, I agree. Is that yours? Is that the one you like pointing out?
You know what, Ryan? I think Skilled Investigators.
Oh,
amazing
that's a really
card.
good one. Yeah.
Zero cost. You can play it on anybody. Especially now with like player side schemes, you can kind of like make it even better.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it's or I don't know what you would say. It's an unofficial benefit is that it's zero cost upgrade, so you can use it for fodder on Caught Off Guard or encounter cards like that.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
it's
very
not
nice.
like it's not completely necessary for Justice to work. So if you get rid of it, it's not the end of the world. It just makes it that much better when you've got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Honorable mentions, ones that I feel like need to be talked about. I'm a fan of Justice Served. think that's a pretty good card. I've utilized it a lot, and it's a good ready for Justice.
Yep.
Heroic Intuition, you gotta say that. I mean, it's pretty solid.
I was gonna go there, but I went there with Aggression. But I agree with you.
Yeah, and
Especially like when we were saying earlier, when you say this hero can't thwart good, this is a real easy way to kind of remedy that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Under Surveillance, I like Befuddle. Is not my favorite.
I was gonna say that like jokingly, but
I like the name though. Chance Encounter. I have seen some use out of that, but there's several in here that are pretty good.
yeah, making an entrance. I think. Oh, we're talking upgrade. Never mind. Scratch that. I just see all the cards in front of me, Ryan. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have them all.
What a noob.
Okay. So one I like is Operative Skill.
Oh, really?
Sometimes you just need one extra.
Okay.
You know, it's like I need 3, but this only does 2. So
Fair
pretty
enough.
good.
I feel you on that.
And it's thwart, so it can be an event or a basic. So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I know how excited you are to talk about some events, so why don't we go to events?
Events, Ryan. All right. I think I'll save some of my honorable mentions, but I think that one had its time, but it's like the old OGs. So I think for me, Clear the Area is probably one of those tried and true ones that we've talked about just being part of like any Justice deck.
That is correct. That's the right answer. Good job.
Yeah. But I want to honorable mention Making Entrance.
I think that's a good one.
Can be good. What's the other one I just had? I was going to mention Fort Justice. You know, I think early on it was a staple of Justice. I think it's kind of got away from that, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. 2 that I would add onto what you've said is Multitasking.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I really like that one. And then One Way or Another, I'm a big fan of it. If you're playing Justice, you should be able to thwart. This one should be an auto include for most decks, I would say.
Yeah.
Which I guess in theory wouldn't call it an auto include if it's not in all decks, but whatever.
A couple of like other events I really like. I'd mentioned in Aggression the aerial one, the yawn roll. I think's a good low cost.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one? What's the form flipper one? I like that one too.
Well, if you didn't say it, I probably could tell you.
Should have came in the
Lay Down the Law.
The Law, yeah, that one's good.
Yeah, a lot of people are liking Gunboat Diplomacy right now. I think that one is a pretty solid one. Of course, got to shout out Shield. Homeland Intervention's really good if you're doing a Shield deck, and Global Logistics has its uses in not only Shield decks, but in non-Shield decks. It's got some pretty good uses doing that manipulation that we've talked about. But some other ones that I think have some depending on the deck, not too bad. Upside the Head isn't bad. It's a way to confuse the enemy, but also has the ability to stun, which is kind of nice.
Yep. I think another event that I feel like when it's right, it can be right, is Crisis Averted.
Okay.
Pretty strong.
I don't play it a lot, but I agree. I think it has its place, especially. So this is one of those where if like you can team it up with Overwatch, it can do a huge amount of thwart. 12 thwart. That's pretty massive. So
yeah, and I think I think too this may play better with some of those scenarios where the thwart cap is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of let it. You can be lax with letting it kind of build up a little bit, knowing that you're probably going to get this. You can take it, down quite a bit. Pair it with like an Overwatch or something, deal with something else.
Yeah, yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I think there are good events, but I think you really summed it up the best. Is there's just a handful of ones that you just kind of always go back to, and there's other ones you can play with depending on the deck you're trying to play and the hero. But overall, you always kind of go back to the same ones because
They
they're
just work.
like too good. Yeah,
Don't fix what's not broken.
yeah. Yep, yep, yep. All right, man. Last type. Side schemes.
All right.
I'm gonna let you go first because
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to share, and that's gonna lead into the next section of what we're talking about.
All right. Now I want to call you out a little bit because you did not do it on the other, but you have definitely neglected the resource type of cards.
I have because there's not too many, but if you would like to discuss it,
There's
I'm open.
if the same, if not more, than player side schemes.
Okay, that's a fair statement to bring forth.
Okay, we'll go player side scheme first, but that one to me is probably Lay the Trap.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the best one.
That's just like an instant damage dealer that you can just kind of sit on. And Justice needs a little help with some damage, so
Yeah, yeah. We didn't talk about it like we did with the aggression episode, but there's generally weaknesses, and I would say damage is probably the weakness of Justice overall.
yeah. I mean, because there's
I'm
not
gonna-
as many attack events, and
Yeah.
some of the attack events have some stipulations to them. So
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could also potentially say that like defense slash healing is also a weakness because I think there's only one card that actually like helps with defense slash weakness or healing, and that's the making an entrance.
yeah, that's true. I don't see any other healing.
But like aggression had ways to heal
Yeah.
or be able to at least convert the damage you're taking to do stuff.
Right?
But Justice kind of doesn't have any of that. Am I just like saying Justice is the worst aspect now?
That's what it sounds like.
Oh man.
Sounds like you just want to play Zone of Silence all the time.
Zone of Silence. The Cone
Oh,
of Silence.
I can't go all this time without mentioning whatever the cosmic one is. So what is the cosmic one for Justice?
The Living
it's the Living
Tribunal.
Tribunal. Yeah, that's the best event I ran.
Okay. All right. Fun. Wise guy. But yeah, side scheme, Lay the Trap is the best one.
Yeah, because I was looking at the other one where you get to take out the guards. It's just so situational to me.
Yeah. When you only have a limited number of player side schemes that can be out, this one can take a spot if you can't get rid of it at the right time.
I think it wouldn't hurt to mention we typically play a 2-player game, so most of the time we can only have one player side scheme out. So
Yeah.
that space is valuable.
All right, Scott. Resources. Because you
Resources.
really wanted to talk about them. So
I know it's not determination.
I have played all of them. I've only really played them with Bishop because I played Bishop Justice, and they were great with Bishop. But outside of that, I haven't really played determination or passion for justice. It's basically only ever been power of justice.
Well, I think Power of Justice is a clear winner, but I think with some decks, I think Passion for Justice is probably that good second place.
That is true. Yeah.
If you're wanting to, especially ones that's like do this amount of thwart and then do another amount of thwart, this is a good one that can kind of boost that.
Yeah. Passion for justice plus multitasking is a good combo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
Is that it?
Well, there's one last thing,
Okay.
and that is what we are looking forward to for the future of justice. Like, what's our expectation? What are some thoughts and directions they can go to enhance the justice, be unique, something even better? And I have some ideas for you, Scott. Are you ready for them?
Yeah, let me hear it.
So I said I was going to come back to Jessica Jones, and in fact I am, but I'm also going to come back to your favorite justice card, Living Tribunal, because what I would love to see is justice go more into the side schemes, more into player side schemes. It has, just looking at the numbers, there are 3 player side schemes right now for justice. That's the same number as aggression. And aggression's terrible at thwarting. What's the deal? So I think justice should be more involved in side schemes. We should see a lot more that do a lot more things so that players can utilize them. And I think it'd be cool if some of the side schemes. So first, there's the Jessica Jones, more side schemes. And now your Cosmic Living Tribunal connection right here. I would love to see some side schemes that have the Living Tribunal type gameplay where you like play it and it goes into the encounter deck to be later pulled out so that you can combo it with one way or another, or it's just helpful down the road. You're going to get to draw your side scheme later on. And I think it would combo well with like global logistics as well. So that's what I would love to see Justice do, is invest in player side schemes to make them good and a lot more so players can utilize them.
Okay. You know, one, I think I'm going to combine a little bit. In our aggression one, we had talked about taking damage was like a thing that a few of the aggression cards do. I know there's is a great responsibility. Yeah. Kind of does that, but I feel like I never wanted to play this card. I think when you need to play this card is why I've never really thought about the concept of like a damage replacing threat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you could maybe have some type of player phase spin on it, did something to move threat based on health or remove threat based off of how much health or damage you've sustained.
Okay. I think I see what you're saying. Almost like a...
It sounds like Deadpool.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like Deadpool, but it's almost like a combination of like swift retribution, which is the villain schemes, you deal damage to them.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you're sacrificing, like, I'm putting threat on to be able to do more things.
Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a thing, right? Maybe adding threat on to deal damage, but I mean, that in essence, that's what that card is doing. I don't know.
But I think there's room for that. Like if you had let's say an attack event for justice that says deal X number of damage. X is the number of threat that you put on to the scheme to a maximum of 3 or whatever. And so it kind of forces you to, hey, you can do big damage, but you're going to be pushing the limit of thwart.
Yeah. The only other thing, potentially, does Justice currently have any ally sacrifice?
I don't think it
So
does.
you
I
could do
think
some type of ally sacrifice.
there's a Justice player for you.
That's right.
Push them over.
That's right.
Yeah,
Revenge.
I think when it comes to Justice, I've reflected a lot. Like it's the one I play the most, and I think that's just the nature of what I like playing and kind of what we need as, two player. We need someone that can focus on thwarting. I feel like the identity of Justice is kind of muddied a little bit. Like I feel all the other aspects you can have different type of decks and stuff, but with Justice it's always kind of settled into, hey, these are the few Justice events you're gonna play, and everything else is just kind of like, I might play it.
It's like these are, this tried and true or shield, right?
Yes, yeah, you're right. Tried and true or shield. I
Okay.
have seen some decks that do some different things with like Bishop and Gunboat Diplomacy, but I don't know. I feel like Justice is behind on in the race of the best aspect a little bit, and I'm a little saddened.
Wah,
So
wah,
hopefully
wah.
hopefully it can bring some new life, especially with the shield wave coming up. Maybe that will help.
Well, Ryan, you will get a chance to have some new Justice cards with the Nick Fury hero. He is Justice.
Oh goody.
And, maybe I just need to go ahead and play some Justice in the new box.
Oh shoot.
Take off the weight. Who knows? I still haven't told you who I'm playing, so.
No, at this point I think I'm gonna be playing by myself.
That's fine. When I go buy it at the game store and you don't have them, then you'll just you throw a frisbee to yourself.
I'll just mug you outside the store.
Okay. All right. Any other Justice things, Ryan?
No, I think I'm overall pretty good. Designers, if you're listening, let's give some new life to Justice, please. I would like that.
Justice great again. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Justice was definitely one of those good aspects in the beginning. Good cards.
It's still good, but
Maybe go back to its heyday. Just teasing.
Oh goodness. All right, close this out. Let's talk about people. Email us. Email us at marvelchampionspod@gmail.com. If you do, you'll be a champ. If you don't, you're a chump. Or you could be a champ too if you're listening. I guess that's important. But yeah, we love hearing from you all. Shout out, see what we got right, wrong about Justice. We've got 3 more aspects to do, so if you have anything to say about those, let us know. Email. And of course, Scott, I know you're a chump, but if you want to go from a chump to a champ, you can always listen to the Marvel Champions podcast.
Gonna close it out?
I don't know. Am I supposed to close that right there? Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever you want to do. I was just gonna end with Justice for All.
Oh yeah.
See ya.
See you.